So as we move into the second half of our program, I am honored to introduce Theresa Shaw, Doctor of Jurisprudence. Affectionately, she's known as Terry here at the Center for Near Eastern Archaeology. She is a volunteer and has been volunteering with us for quite some time. And as a former teacher, lawyer, and nonprofit CEO, Terry's retirement to Southern California has greatly benefited us. So we are very thankful that she is here. She has assisted in lots of various capacities here at the CNEA, but perhaps she's best known for her passionate pursuit of artifact research. And most recently, her area of specialties has been coins. And I believe that is what she's going to share about with us today. So, Terry, take it away.
Hello. My experience with ancient coins started a few years ago when I began to catalog the coins in the CNEA collection. And I didn't know anything when I started, but I got really excited about them because there was so much to learn. And I'm one of those people who just likes to learn new things. And I found that not only were they interesting as art, but they were also little packets of information about the past. For this particular weekend, I chose to talk about the Coins of Judea. I did this timeline to give you an idea of the various ruling powers that Judea suffered under over the time period that we're talking about today, which is Judea from 400 BC to 135 AD. And I'm talking about the five major groups of coins that come from out of this period of time. This map gives you an introduction to the earliest coins. You see first in Lydia, then in Persia, and then in Athens. I've circled some places on the coins to indicate some details that we'll see as we look at some of the earliest Judean coins. First of all, on the Persian coin, there is the depiction of the king. It's a generic depiction, and he's wearing the distinctive Persian crown. On the Athenian coin, the details that I want you to notice are on the reverse side, where there are several things that are associated with Athena. One is the main character on this coin, which is the owl, and then to the left side, the abbreviation for Athens, and to the right side is a twig from an olive tree. These are the early coins of Judea. The first coins were made in 400 BC of bronze and in small denominations because that's what the people generally used. Here you see a picture of a handful of coins, and they were very small. We would think of them, we would wonder how people didn't just lose them. So keep this in mind. Most of the coins I'm talking about are even smaller than a dime. The most common coin was this tiny version of the Athenian owl. But several adaptations were made. Where there was an olive twig on the right, it is now the lily, the emblem of Jerusalem. And over on the left, the place for the minting has been changed to the letters YHD for Yehud, the Persian name of Judea. The other coins from this era, we have two examples of them. On one side was a Persian symbol, the falcon. And on the other side were various, I don't even want to call them symbols, but things from Jewish ritual that people would recognize. And on the right side, you see the shofar, which is a ram's horn that is blown at the New Year. And on the left is an ear. An ear is also the Hebrew word for hear, and it's used as the beginning of many of their prayers. Now we see a different set of coins that appeared late in the 4th century, around sometime between 470 and 460. And they have the king's head on them, as you can see. On the owl coin, now we have a king instead of Athena. On the other coins, we have the king's head along with a falcon. And a very interesting one to me, a new coin with 2 motifs out of Persian mythology, the horned lynx and a winged lion with the king's head. Scholars talk about these new coins, this particular set of coins, as a reaction to a whole set of rebellions that happened starting around 404 in Egypt, Phoenicia, and Anatolia. The first thing the rebels did was mint their own coins. And so after Persia put down the rebellions, they needed to reestablish their supremacy. And so we think that is why these coins appeared as a daily reminder of people using coins that they were subjects of the Persian king. Next. Oh no, yes, here we are. The next group of coins I want to talk about are from what is called the Hasmonean Dynasty. These men that you see on the timeline are the descendants of the men who started the Maccabean Revolt and fought in that. It took about 35 years of navigating with what was going on in Seleucia, which was the overlord, to finally arrive at a peace treaty. And we got that. They got the peace treaty in 131 BC. And this very interesting coin is a result of that. The Seleucid king opened the mint in Jerusalem, and they minted this coin that had a symbol of the anchor for Seleucia on one side and the lily for the Judean side. And so that was the first coin that was used by this Hasmonean dynasty, which was, importantly, the first independent existence of Judea in ancient history, the only time that it was independent in ancient history. Now, the first king, John Hyrcanus, had several coins that I want to point out. One, again, uses the lily and a sheaf of grain. A sheaf of grain is an important agricultural product. And then this coin with a pomegranate between 2 cornucopias, also highly symbolic. The pomegranate being one of the first fruits that is celebrated at harvest time, as well as a symbol of the high priest. And the cornucopia is known throughout the area as a symbol of good fortune and the fertility of the land. This design on this coin became universal during the Hasmonean dynasty. You see how it's used on the coins of every single one of the kings, or every single one of the kings who minted coins. And also important is the writing that you see on the other side of the coin. It's in archaic Hebrew, and it shows us who the minting authority was: the priest, the high priest, and the Council of Jews. And as I said, this is the only time in history that they were able to say that on a coin. The next king, well, not exactly the next, no, wait a minute, go back. The next motif that occurs a lot is on the coins of Alexander Jannaeus. This is because he minted a lot of coins, and they were around for a long time. People used them daily for really an amazingly long period of time. His coins have been found in excavations on Roman layers from the 4th century AD. So they were very popular and very useful. His coins, as you can see here, are 2 examples of the coin of the motif that he really liked to use, and that's the anchor, which I think he learned about from the Seleucids. You see it in one instance with the lily on it, a reoccurring symbol. And then on this one in the lower left is another royal symbol. At first, I thought it was a wheel, but as I learned more, I learned that what was at the center of it is a star, which is a royal symbol, and it's surrounded by a diadem, which is the kind of simple crown that a king will wear. Now we move on to a different era, the era of the Herodians. The first king, Herod, called the Great, but then I've also heard him called just Herod the First. He adopted some familiar symbols. If you look real close at the one on the left, you'll see an anchor and a cornucopia. And that round thing between the two horns, which used to be previously in the Hasmonean coins, used to be a pomegranate, has now shifted into something else. It's now what's called a caduceus. Caduceus is a Roman symbol, the symbol of the god Mercury. And it is showing us how we're now getting more of an assimilation of Roman culture into the culture at large and into the coins that they're making. His other coins, other than this, followed a kind of a pattern of using some symbols, not symbols, but items that would be found in the temple during prayers and rituals and other services, combined with some royal symbols. On the lower left, you see that's an open diadem with a Greek letter key inside, which is considered an emblem of royalty. On the other side of this coin is a tripod table. And tripod table is something that's used to hold various things inside the temple. The other coin shows an army helmet, which is a symbol of military authority, along with a tripod and a ceremonial bowl. This shows you something about the coins of the three sons of Herod who followed him. They ruled in different areas, as you see on the map, and their coins were different. Archelaus, who had Samaria, Judea, and I'm getting my tongue tied. Anyways, I'll move on. Was using symbols like we've seen before. Antipas in the middle was starting to use Roman symbols. You see the name of Tiberius in one of the coins. Philip, who ruled in an area that had very few, very small Jewish populace, his coins look almost entirely Roman. The last Herodian kings, the thing that I want to show you is how Agrippa I's coins look different depending on where he was in his kingdom. And the coin that he used in Judea has a royal canopy with fringes. And that is about as close as he could get to something that would proclaim his royalness, since he couldn't use his own portrait on the coins. We'll move on. Importantly, when the Romans had complete control over Judea, there was always, from time to time, causes for unhappiness. And one of these times blew up into a full-fledged revolt in AD 66. And these are the coins from that period of time, which are remarkable for their unity of design. They produced them over 5 years, and you see that the coins all look pretty much the same. They do have above the cup is the year. So they are identified as coming from year 1, year 2, year 3. And then the bronze coins had agricultural symbols and the amphoras that were seen in the temple. We'll go on. The next revolt that happened was the Barcode Revolt in 132 AD. another very interesting group of coins came from this time. To make their coins, they needed to use coins that were already in existence, which they flattened out and then put their own coin designs over the top of. And in the bottom left, you see examples of two of those where you can still see the name of the emperor. The coins, I have several that they are representative of the ones. They're a much larger group of coins, but what they contain are, again, agricultural products and musical instruments from inside the temple. The most distinctive one is on the upper left because it bears a portrait of the temple itself, and it's really one of the only contemporary artifacts that exists that tell us what it looked like. And this is to show you that the coins have not gone away. The coins of Barcode were the last coins that were produced in the ancient time, but in fact, they're still alive in modern Israel. These are coins that were produced in Israel, and you'll see a very familiar group of images on those coins that are now with us still.
Absolutely fascinating. As we move into our Q&A section, we've got a good question for you. So this one asks, was there Jewish backlash to coins that had depictions of what might be considered idolatrous or Gentile motifs?
Well, those coins were made in areas where there really wasn't a Jewish population. The coins that I showed you today, along with the coins that the Roman procurators had struck when they were ruling in the Judean area, and I mean really central Judea, Jerusalem, and that area, they were very careful to choose designs for the coins that would not be offensive, except for Pontius Pilate. That's another story.
Thank you so much, Terry.